Beginners make the mistake of trying to figure everything out with every problem that comes along. Instead, memorize standard answers. Figuring out new variants for special cases comes later. For example, counting from 1 to n is common practice, as you have noticed by now, so this for statement should be memorized. Don't try to do it a new way each time. In order to sum terms repetitively, you must first be able to repeat. That's a loop, which you now know how to do. Let's look at the problem which sums the numbers from 1 to 100. In order to solve this problem, you first have to count from 1 to 100. That's the memorized part. So now we build on that. In the case of summing terms, you need a new variable to hold the answer, which is your sum, as your counter goes through all of the numbers. Do not use the same variable that is counting. Your count will get messed up. Here's an example of this mistake. Do not use I here for your sum. That is your counter variable. Do not use it here. You want to use a new variable. So here, before we start our for loop, we declare a new variable sum equal to 0. So now when you're in your for loop, you can take sum and resave the new value of sum by adding the current value of I. This is also a memorized skill, adding each time to a variable with a constantly changing one. All sums work like this. With summation, we always start with 0 because anything else would change the answer. When multiplying, if you start with 0, the answer is always 0. So just like with its identity, multiplication begins with 1. Otherwise, this happens. If we have 0 here instead of 1, every time we go to multiply, it's going to remain 0. So whenever you want to multiply a number over and over and over using a loop, make sure to always set the initial variable equal to 1. To fix this, initialize your variable that will hold the product to 1. Alright, so when we go through the first iteration, we're going to be saving a value of 1 into prod, because prod initially holds a value of 1 times the current value of I, which is 1, and that's 1. Then the next time through the loop, in the second iteration, I is going to be 2. So we are going to resave the value 2 into the prod variable, and then so on and so on. Your programs will almost always have mistakes at first. It's a fact. Good programmers trust nothing. Always ask yourself these questions. Did you start with the right value? Did you end with the right value? Did you overflow because the numbers got too big? Did you compute using the wrong data type? How do you find out when you're wrong? Hint, asking the teacher is not a good strategy. Find out for yourself.